Before we jump into the video, I want to let you know that I've finally set up an official public Discord server if you guys want to jump in and become a part of the community and chat all things COD and all things gaming. Links in the description below if you're interested. But anyways, let's get back to the video. Shadow updates, if you can call them that, happen all the time in games, but usually they're relatively small and that aren't either worth mentioning or that don't have a whole ton of significance in that playable aspect of the game that people want to read about. This isn't something new that's just relating to Call of Duty either. It's usually nearly universal. But Call of Duty in particular has had a history of unmentioned changes, but curiously, as of recently, we've had two updates, larger ones at that, update 1.10 and update 1.11, the first of which was much larger than the second and gave us a ton of notes relating to the content season at hand, but 1.11 didn't really offer much insight at all. And it turns out that both 1.10 and 1.11 withheld quite a bit of information that the community was able to find, so today I want to break down the secret changes made to Modern Warfare that Infinity Ward didn't tell you about. That said, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and of course if you have anything you'd like to add to the conversation, feel free to. And as well, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already and are interested in staying up to date with all things Modern Warfare on a daily basis. But anyways, let's get into the changes because there's a surprising number of them here and some that actually have, again, some rather decent weight and significance in the game. First and foremost, a little disclaimer, some of these that are reported are tougher to confirm and verify personally, but with the validity of some of the ones that have been verified, I have no issue putting some faith in some of the others reported. These coming from a thread over on Reddit by the user of Flying Fruitcake and sourced not only by his findings, but also others in the Reddit community. There's a decent bit of changes. The one that I noticed with 1.10, which has actually since been reverted back with 1.11, was that of the spawn-in animations, that bird's eye view that you get whenever you spawn in your regular game modes. It actually was disabled in 1.10 in some game modes, and so therefore you didn't have that, you just jumped right back in like you traditionally would. And honestly, I thought that whenever I experienced this, that it was some sort of bug, but I liked it. I liked jumping right back into the action. Sure, you don't get that bird's eye view, which is meant to give you a little bit more information on where players may be, but I was okay with that. But it's actually been since re-enabled as of 1.11, but again, not something that was listed in the update notes. There also seemingly is an increase to the XP necessary to rank up with your officer ranks. Now, personally, I haven't paid too much attention to pre-season 1 XP yields and XP rates needed to go from, say, 56 to 57 and so on and so forth upwards through the ranks, but apparently it's been doubled from what I've heard, where it was previously 10,000 XP, but now it's 20,000 XP. Truth be told, I haven't played as much of season 1 as I would have hoped to anticipate. I just got really busy over the last couple of days since it's launched, but taking a look at the XP I have to get from 56 to 57 left, it makes sense that it would be 20,000 total, which is wild to me. I don't have any idea as to why this would happen. I don't know if this is supposed to be a scaling thing for the battle pass, and even so, why that was changed to begin with. I have no conceivable idea as to why this would have actually been changed, but it seems like it has been. So if it feels like it's taking a while to rank up, you're not crazy. It's actually something that was adjusted. After that, it seems like there was a fire rate decrease to the FAL, this seemingly in response to players that used macros that would allow for abuse of said fire rate, which is kind of odd to me that instead of taking out the issue or punishing those that are abusing it, why they're changing it on a holistic level that affects all players, not just the users that are abusing it. So that's one that again is a curious one to me that I haven't really kind of wrapped my mind around just yet, but apparently there also has been an increased spawn rate for vehicles in Ground War. Again, I haven't played enough to really notice this, which I feel like I definitely would once I jump in, since Ground War is primarily all I play. I don't know if that refers to ATVs, I don't know if that refers to tanks or all vehicles in general. Hopefully not the tanks. I've seen discussion about the ATVs, but I don't know if that's a specific vehicle change, but that's apparently been changed out as well. There's an adjustment seemingly to the EOD hack duration, which there's actually video credit here to this one, credit to Childish Lemonade. This seems to have been cut by 50% as opposed to pre-patch of 1.10, which honestly would have been a great change as of last season, since there was an officer rank challenge for that, where you had to hack equipment with EOD, I think it was 20 times, and that was one that was kind of a pain to do. So this change maybe seemingly added a little too late in my personal opinion, but it is something that's been changed out as well. Apparently Arklov Peak was added to Cyber Attack, Grind and Capture the Flag were added to the leaderboard rewards as well. Both of those game modes not introduced just yet in Modern Warfare, but seemingly maybe hinting at their release throughout the duration of Season 1, so that's something you can take a look out for and maybe consider coming. The MG34 apparently had a damage reduction, but again, that's one that hasn't been specifically confirmed just yet. New gunfight loadouts are apparently added in since the recent updates as well. There seems to have been additional PlayStation exclusive challenges in the mission challenge selection, which there apparently were already 2 in game, but they added a 3rd one now with this one. Truth be told, I honestly didn't even realize there were exclusives on the mission challenges. I saw recently some comments pointing it out, and that's actually what kind of sparked it here for me. I don't really go into the missions at all, so I had no idea that that was a thing, that there were PlayStation 4 exclusives, but it seems like there was another one added that was not mentioned once again with these updates for 1.10 or 1.11. So unfortunately, that's a little bit of a disconnect between the platforms and a bonus for PlayStation 4. The VLK optic no longer apparently increases the ADS speed on some specific weapons. There also is apparently an adjusted graphic on the damage bars for the M91 and the PKM. There's been reported changes to the precision aim setting, but it also could be something that is just entirely a bug and an unintentional adjustment, therefore it didn't make it into the original patch notes. St. Petrograd is apparently in survival mode now at this point. Operation Just Reward was added in without any real mention of it in any of the update notes. This was something that was on the graphic for Season 1 as something coming, but nothing really ever officially stated that, hey, it's actually out there now, just go play it. In the same vein as that, it also, of course, with Season 1 added Atrium and Cargo to gunfight, and 3 new trials to play through, including the Juggernaut mission, the Floor's Lava mission, and one other amongst all of those. But again, that was stuff that kind of again was known but not publicly stated in said update notes, so that one will kind of combine those two here for a change made sort of under the radar, but not really. In private matches, you can now access Reinforce, Grind, and Infected, as well as Gun Game, which again even further hints at those game modes coming throughout the rest of this season for those that have not made it already. But again, curious that it was even added in. You can test it out now on your own. Grazna Raid was apparently removed from 6v6 Domination, that specific playlist, but again, it might have been added back in with update 1.11. This was one of those ones that was noted after 1.10 on Tuesday. Arklov Peak has been added to Hardcore Domination. A Thermite, when now sticking to a Riot Shield, will result in a kill both with and without EOD on, so that's something to note. And Spec Ops, it's definitely been adjusted, but in MP it may have been as well. And Odin had a decrease in its damage and as well may have increased the recoil a little bit from some observations by the community. The new animation for the nuke was added in as well. We talked about that being something added, but wasn't really mentioned in Tuesday's update video. The AK-47 had an increase to the recoil. It adjusted the cruise missile sensitivity, so you may notice that one when you call in a cruise missile in game. It added 2 new classic Spec Ops missions, Pitch Black and Grounded, kind of compounding again on that not really relayed information about Spec Ops content. The defensive spawn for St. Petrograd in Search and Destroy was adjusted. There also was some time penalty to prevent players from committing suicide too much. However, it again is not clear which modes and what conditions it really counts into, so for those trying to reverse boost, it may have just gotten a little bit more difficult. Truth be told, I am so out of the loop when it comes to reverse boosting in this game and the whole conditions and the factors set for all this kind of stuff. I kind of just jump in and play and hope to God I don't get like CDL qualifiers, but it is something that to whatever degree skill-based matchmaking may or may not be in, again, just simply because I don't know enough about the topic this year and really don't understand it as much as in previous years. Whatever degree it may be, players have been reverse boosting, and this is kind of a countermeasure added in to try and combat that, which naturally isn't going to be mentioned because it'll kickstart the entire, why don't you just adjust skill-based matchmaking? Why don't you just remove it? So I understand why that one wasn't added into the patch notes. The M4, while using the SOCOM ammunition, had an increase to its recoil. There was a possible increase even to vehicle health in update 1.10, which is really curious to me, given that one of the big things that players are asking for is a tank nerf in terms of, in some cases specifically, the health of the tank. The majority of that stuff was stuff from 1.10, but from 1.11, we didn't really have too much in terms of guidelines for what changed other than just stability for ground war matches. But apparently it also re-enabled again that spawn-in animation and bird's eye camera in all game modes except Hardpoint and Headquarters. It apparently fixed out some issues with tracking challenges, so therefore things like your Damascus camo has been now seen out in the wild. Players are starting to unlock that, whereas a lot of the times it's been locked up for weeks now for players that were just on the cusp of getting it. And of course, some officer challenges were fixed out, some still though are bugged, and it also removed the night maps from hardcore TDM. So all in all, there was a lot of stuff, whether big or small, some kind of falling on both ends of the spectrum here. We did see some really minor stuff, but also some things that do change the functional gameplay experience of Modern Warfare, not mentioned at all in these update notes. So while personally I kind of expect that there's always going to be some stuff left out from patch notes that we have to find for ourselves, I don't really care too much about the whole conveying of information as the next guy maybe. I mean, sure, I'd love to have everything laid out so that I can make as transparent, as thorough content for you guys when talking about updates, but I know that naturally that might not always happen. But I'm really more so just interested in getting this information out there because for the first time in a long time in recent years, there's actually some decent changes that were never mentioned, or some things that actually have some weight to the gameplay experience. So I wanted to share this with you guys and let you know and keep you in the loop for things that you may not have actually seen in these patch notes and what we've talked about before, but have actually been changed, so you can use that to however you may need to when jumping in game. So that said, that's where we're gonna wrap it up. I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. Is there anything in particular that you liked or disliked out of this update here, and what was also not mentioned in the official patch notes? Whatever it is, feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to drop a like down below, and of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare, daily content here on the channel, and of course, we'll keep you up to date with absolutely anything you need to know. So hit that subscribe button. If you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected from outside of YouTube. Perk live on both those. If you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. But let's head out of the way. Thank you guys all so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.